Welcome back, America. The biggest heroes in Washington right now, the National Guard, who brought safety here to this great city. The biggest foes in Washington right now, the Washington Post, who've been actually out there outing the security provisions of our Defense Secretary. And the biggest question everybody has in America, how are we doing in the war for supremacy in drone warfare? We have the perfect person to answer all three of those. She is the Department of Defense Press Secretary, a good friend of ours, Kingsley Wilson. Kingsley, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to be with you.
All right, let me start with media. I've been in it a long time, 37 years. I don't think I've seen a story that was as ham-handed and unnecessarily detailed as the Washington Post story. They kind of basically put out a lot of potential vulnerabilities in Secretary of Defense Haig's security provisioning. You guys have been going back and forth. Tell us why Americans should be concerning and why the Washington Post response only makes it worse.
This is a totally irresponsible story, and you're completely correct in your analysis of it. And for us, it's concerning not just because it doxes Secretary Haig, his family, his wife, his extended family's security protocols and movements, but also because it comes just days after the same outlet, the Washington Post, doxed where Secretary Noem is living when she's here in D.C. So this is a trend that we're seeing from the scummy journalists at the Washington Post, and it is totally inappropriate, and it puts lives at risk. And it doesn't just put the lives of, cabinet level officials at risk. It also puts the lives of these agents at risk who put their life on the line every single day to protect cabinet officials. And the Secretary of Defense in particular is living in and dealing with a heightened threat environment. We just totally obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. We have 1,000% increase in assaults against ICE officers across this country. The president himself had 2 assassination attempts on his life when he was on the campaign trail. So to recognize that threat environment and to respond to it is exactly what our Army Chief Investigation Division officers who keep the Secretary of Defense safe do every single day. Everything they have recommended has been on an assessment of the threat environment and at their full concurrence. The Washington Post is writing fake news, and they're putting people in danger, and it's really disgraceful.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It is a national security risk. It's a risk to the safety of the secretary and his family and extended family. But it also, for the American people, it's costly because I imagine that security is going to have to be increased for a number of people, not just the secretary, to protect them and make sure that they are okay now that their information is doxed.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. I spoke with the head of the Secretary's security team. He was incredibly frustrated by this irresponsible article, and he himself said that they're going to have to adjust a lot of the things that they do when they think about how to keep the Secretary safe, because so much of this article and the details of it were not in the public information space, and the public didn't frankly have any right to know all of these sorts of details. They don't need to know where Secretary Haig's 7 children go and who they visit, family member-wise. That stuff is totally inappropriate to be highlighting for our enemies, foreign and domestic. So this is something that we're going to have to work on correcting, and we're, again, very, very frustrated with the shameful Washington Post.
So one of the questions is, if they have put the country's security at risk, is there a penalty? Can the Washington Post be denied access to the Pentagon or the State Department or the White House as punishment until they correct this issue? Is that something that's on the table inside the Trump administration right now?
I can only speak for the Pentagon, and I can tell you absolutely all options are on the table. We take the safety of this secretary and our personnel who keep him safe very, very seriously. And when people endanger that, we want to make sure that we are creating a space where outlets who engage in that sort of behavior are not given the access that other outlets who tell the truth do. So that's something that we're looking at and we'll continue to evaluate.
Okay, well, I'm going to dox 4 National Guardsmen because they were standing outside the Smithsonian station a few days ago when I exited the metro, and big smiles on their faces, and I thanked them. I said, thank you so much for being here. It already feels safer. And they were beaming, but I thought to myself, dang, I imagine that there are a lot of people who are screaming at them and angry at their presence, even though, Kingsley, everyone's feeling quite a bit safer, aren't they?
We're so thankful for the amazing work that our National Guardsmen are doing across D.C., and they are really putting forward real results. Came out today that crime is just dropping across the board in the city of D.C., and that is really a result of what our National Guardsmen are doing. They're out there protecting law enforcement, They're helping people out. They're deterring crime, right? When you see a National Guardsman standing on a street corner or at the metro, you're not going to engage in criminal behavior. So just their mere presence there is a massive deterrent. We also announced here at the department today that they're going to be armed. So these are individuals that are going to be really standing up to the crime that we have allowed to fester in D.C. under Mayor Bowser's leadership, and we're looking forward to the important work that they'll continue to do alongside federal law enforcement. We're keeping D.C. safe, and it's starting to look really beautiful again. So DoD's really proud to be a part of this mission.
Yeah, no, you can see it, and most of the residents here are proud to have those National Guardsmen and National Guardswomen on the streets helping them. It's been an amazing thing to watch. I've been in the city a long time. I haven't seen something like it in many, many years. A question that's on everyone's mind is how much the war between Ukraine and Russia has changed the nature of warfare. We now have thousands, we have millions of drones being deployed every day in warfare. I know Americans want to know, how are we doing? How are we going to make sure that we are the supreme power when it comes to drones? Obviously, we were the first to deploy drones in a military combat, but can you give us just a general sense of some of the innovation that's going on at the Pentagon under Pete Hegseth?
Absolutely. Thanks to Secretary Hegseth, we've been cutting through a lot of the red tape when it comes to procuring weapons for our warriors. We're doing everything we can to ensure that our weapon systems are top notch, but that they're also in the hands of our warfighters when they need them and quickly. There's been so much bureaucracy across the Pentagon for so many years, so much red tape, and it has really stalled a lot of innovation. So we've got a great team here that are rolling those regulations back where we can, and we're focusing on drone dominance. That is a huge focus of Secretary Hegseth, and we're focusing on particularly American-made drones. We want to revitalize our industrial base here at home in America. We want made-in-America weapon systems, and for drones in particular, that is something that we're working towards. Just a couple weeks ago here at the Pentagon, we actually had a huge drone showcase where we showcased tons of American-made drones that are going to be in the hands of our warfighters. So it is absolutely a focus here at the department. We recognize it's the future of warfare, and we're stepping up to make sure we're meeting the demands that our warfighters need to be successful.
So exciting. Kingsley, you have such a fantastic presence on social media. What's the best way for people to follow all your great work?
Please follow me. PressSecDOD is my handle on X, and we try to put out great content of what our warfighters are doing here at home and all across the globe.
You do indeed. It's a must follow. Kingsley, great to have you on. Have a great week, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, folks. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're not done yet. It's time to make America healthy again. At least talk about it. It's underway in so many different ways. We're going to give you an interesting new element to make sure you sleep well. Sleep is a key part of public health and personal health. We're going to talk about that next with one of our experts right after these messages. Hey folks, in today's world of misinformation and political spin, it's more important than ever to support organizations that put truth and values first. That's why I support and belong to AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. They're the conservative alternative to AARP, and they're working to preserve faith, family, and freedom, three things that matter to all of us. AMAC members get valuable benefits, discounts on healthcare, travel, and health insurance, exclusive online resources, and a subscription to AMAC's beautiful magazine, one of the best reads out there for an informed patriot like you and I. And all of this is available for as little as $1.20 a month with a 5-year membership. That's what I have, a 5-year membership. Join me. Join the movement today. Visit amac.us/justnews and help AMAC protect America's future.